Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I'm Lawrence. Prez and Teddy covers is my co-host. You're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet. Tons of actionable information today. Mark Zinno joining us first. He's going to discuss two baseball bets, both first five, which is what I've been doing a lot of lately. Teddy, we got Bryan Power, NBA and baseball, and Dave Sharapan at the end of the show. Talk to me, my brother. Are you making first five bets more often than you used to?
More often than I used to, yes. On a regular basis, day in, day out, no, because I'm not a guy that focuses on starting pitching in MLB. There are lots of handicappers that spend all their time, this pitcher's good, this pitcher's bad. My strategy in baseball, especially when we start getting to this stage of the season, is that most of the pitchers are priced appropriately. And I'm much more interested in lineups, bullpens, and current form than I am with starting pitchers. So I do less with first five than many cappers do. I focus more on full game. That being said, there are times where it's a first five mismatch, and that's the way to get involved. And you said you've been doing it more than you used to, Lawrence. Did you used to do it a lot?
No, I never did it, but I've been doing it for the last 2 years. And now it's probably 50-50, Teddy. Like, that's how often I'm doing first five, and I love that the plus half. You can't get that in a full game. Mark Zinno joining us. Mark, you're the $2 Tuesday handicapper. We'll get to that in a bit. Let's go right away. Tampa Bay and Milwaukee. That was my one win yesterday. We'll talk about my losses later. I had the under 8 in that game. Where are we going tonight?
Going to back Freddie Peralta here as one of the starters. He's been very good to start the season, posting a 3.18 ERA and a 0.99 whip, striking out 38 batters, guys, in 28 and a third innings. Opposing hitters just batting a $148 against him the first 2 times through the order. So you know that you're not going to see that third time through, at least through the 6th inning, unless things get bad. Now, why I didn't want to back the Brewers totally here is because Tyler Anderson starts for Tampa, and while his overall numbers aren't good, he's allowed 2 runs or less in all 3 of his last 3 starts. But the Brewers absolutely cannot hit left-handed pitching, like at all. Lowest batting average in baseball against lefties, 3rd lowest OPS, 4th lowest WRC plus, and the 2nd highest strikeout percentage in baseball against lefties. We get a 4 here. In the first 5 is the total. Keeps the push in play here for us. You don't have to go to the 3.5. So we'll take first 5 under 4 with Freddie Peralta and Tyler Anderson on the mound here between Tampa Bay and Milwaukee.
And prior to last night, both these lineups were in pretty good current form. Tampa had gone over 3 of their previous 4. Milwaukee had gone over all 4 of those contests. Coming off that 1-0 pitchers duel, what's your worry in this game? Do you have a worry in this game, or is this one you're pretty confident with?
I mean, I'm not necessarily worried about Tampa scoring against Freddie Peralta. I'm more worried about, the off chance that the left-handed bats, and again, if Tyler Anderson, for whatever reason, only goes, 4 innings and has to come out in the 5th, they touch him up for a run. The Brewers get 2 runs. We start to get tight, right? If it's a 2-1 game here and Tyler Anderson needs to get pulled, or Tyler Alexander, rather, needs to get pulled, and then you get somebody else coming in, all of a sudden a righty comes in and the Brewers can score against him. There's a myriad of things that can happen here. But I think Peralta is the guy I'm expecting to do most of the heavy lifting here and probably limit Tampa Bay to 1 or 0 runs through the first 5 innings here.
Guys, Mark Zinno joining us today. Let's just bottom line this. Every Tuesday, we take one of our best handicappers. We make them the $2 Tuesday handicapper. Mark Zinno is number 1 so far this year in baseball, the number 1 most profitable baseball bettor we have this year. An incredible win percentage of 67%, which is outstanding. So if you guys head over to WagerTalk Today for only $2, you can get Mark Zinno's MLB best bet. Mark, the Blue Jays, tough team to get a grip on so far. Could be amazing, could be awful. We still don't know. When the bats hit, though, this team is deadly. They're playing today. Are we betting on them?
We're going to bet on them in the first 5 at least. Jose Berrios is on the mound for the Blue Jays. He has been their most consistent starter on the year. a 1.23 ERA, 1.04 whip. He's made 2 starts at home this year, guys, and he's allowed exactly 0 runs while striking out 13 batters in 13 2/3 innings. He's facing a Royals lineup that's bottom 5 in batting average on the road. And so they should not have the offensive success that we've seen them have throughout the season. But Cole Reagan starts for the Royals, and Reagan's has been good to start the year. He's allowed more than 3 runs in just 1 start this season. His 2 road starts, he's also allowed exactly 0 runs while striking out 15 batters in 12 1/3 innings. But here's the rub, guys. The Blue Jays at home have a top 5 batting average. They're top 10 in OPS and WRC+. Reagan's can be had. I don't think he's anywhere near as dominant as his numbers suggest. He's good, but I don't think he's dominant the way Berrios has been dominant this year with the lower ERA and the low whip. So I'll trust the Toronto bats here at home to do enough damage against Reagan's and get us a short lead here. So we'll lay. We don't even need to lay the half run here. We get a manageable price on the money line. Keep the tie in our back pockets in case Reagan's is very effective, but we'll take the Blue Jays here on the money line in the first 5.
Now, how do you deal with these short turnaround, quick revenge situations? You know, KC and Toronto played last week. These 2 pitchers faced off against each other. Pitchers duel 2-1 final in that ballgame. Now both lineups getting a short turnaround second look at the same starting pitcher. How do you approach that, Mark? Do you expect more of the same? It's one of those deals like second look when you just saw a guy last time out. Sometimes I tend to like guys who got bombed in the first meeting and not like guys who pitched well. What do you think?
Right. No, yeah, listen, I tend to agree with you. There's another matchup tonight, as a matter of fact, between Minnesota and Chicago that faces the 2 same starting pitchers that faced each other last week in Simeon Woods-Richardson for Minnesota and Michael Soroka for Chicago, which is another game that I eyed up. But I think for the most part, it's true. When you get the same starter a week later, the bats, if they failed the first time, tend to show up the second time and vice versa. If the pitcher failed, he'll make the adjustments and he'll show up for the second time. But again, for me, this is about Berrios more than anything. And if what we're thinking about with Reagan's is true, that the bats for Toronto may be a little bit more effective against him the second time around because they've already seen him once, then I get the sense that the Toronto bats, which have been more consistent this year, especially at home when they are hitting, gives me enough of an edge here. But again, I get the money line. I get the tie in my back pocket if I need it. So I feel comfortable with Toronto at home.
Mark Zinno. Guys, I just want to clarify, Mark Zinno is not the number 1 handicapper in profit in baseball. He is number 1 in ROI, which is very important, and number 1 in win percentage. So my apologies, but Mark, I was gazing at you and I lost my train of thought, man. That sharp jaw, the cheekbone line, your hair. I got caught up in your beauty, bro. Can you forgive?
I all is forgiven. I send many blessings your way, and thank you for the kind words.
My pleasure, Mark Zinno. Love having you on, brother. So, guys, Mark's the $2 Tuesday handicapper. Grab his play. Is there anything else you want to promote?
No, we're just a $2 play here today. I've loved the angle that we've hit tonight. But again, that 67% over the course of this month, guys, we've been locked in with Major League Baseball here. Do have a free play up on the page as well tonight in the NBA playoffs. So check out wt.buzz/MZ and get all that stuff for you.
Wonderful stuff. We'll see you soon. Kick ass, dude, and good luck. Teddy Robert Martinez, one of our listeners, writes, Prez, you and Bryan are the kiss of death when it comes to NBA 5% plays. Begging us to buy him. You're hockey guys. Okay, so I'm not going to speak on behalf of Bryan. We were on the same 5% play. It was the Denver Nuggets. It was never close. They were never covering that number at any point from start to finish. It was a bad call, and I'd like to apologize. I hate losing these 5% plays. They absolutely slay me. With that said, Robert Martinez, I am up more units in the last 2 years in NBA than I am in NHL. Robert Martinez, I was the number 2 college basketball bettor on WagerTalk from start to finish, over 60 units. You might think I'm an NHL guy, but I'm not. I'm a professional bettor. I bet all sports. I do well in all sports. I'm up profit in baseball right now too. It's just on this show, I spend a lot of time talking NHL. Teddy and I kind of want to give you guys, a show that encompasses all other sports. Teddy is an NBA god. I do well in NHL, and that's sort of why we stay in those lanes. But I am not just an NHL expert, and I apologize profusely to everybody who bought that 5% NBA play last night. It killed me. It slayed me. I ended up staying awake till 3:30 in the morning. I don't do well with these losses. They are soul crushing to me, and I apologize. Theodore, what did we learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
I don't know about you. I love that game last night. I didn't want overtime. I had the under, and Jamal Murray hits the shot, and we don't get overtime. Whew. And get out of there with another W. That's the sixth straight a winner in NBA postseason action.
Nice.
I want to talk about what's going on in terms of projections for revenue for sports betting. I ran across this article yesterday, and it's an article that was a little bit old. It was written, I think, around Super Bowl time. It was a forecast from Goldman Sachs Research talking about where they expect the U.S. sports betting market to go. The market now, of course, we have official numbers. We always used to have maybe numbers. It's a $10 billion industry now. And the Goldman Sachs report says, quote, Americans will legally spend $45 billion on sports betting each year when the market is mature. So we're talking about it's $10 billion now. Goldman Sachs is saying a mature market is $45 billion. So 4.5 times what it is right now when it comes to a mature market. Now, there are still a couple of states, a couple of high population states that don't have legalized regulating sports betting, most notably Texas, California. So there is still some big population states that are going eventually, when the market is mature, in theory, they will have legalized, regulated sports betting. But to say this industry is going to go from 10 billion to 45 billion, that's a whole lot of bets that aren't being made yet that they think is going to be made. Quote, the rapid rise of parlays has been a distinctive feature of sports betting's rise in the U.S. We expect parlay penetration to continue to rise from here, along with improved in-game betting products and greater personalization across the user experience, bets offered, and promotions. One more thing worth noting, quote, the future of sports betting is a convergence of media and sports betting. You're watching a basketball game on your betting app and a player's about to take a free throw. The odds that he or she makes it pops up on the screen, and the app asks, do you want to do this bet or not? That's where the industry is heading. Well, I'm not a fan of any of that stuff when it comes to, let's get quick bets. Let's get bets with no edge. And to think that you're going to have an extra $35 billion in bets like that taking over the industry, I'll just say in this bettor's opinion, that forecast is a little bit rich. I'll take the under 45 billion for the U.S. And if we get to that number, that's not good for sports betting. That's not good for anything. That's too high of a projection from a Wall Street firm, in this bettor's opinion. Lawrence?
Yeah, firstly, I got a bunch to say, and I have a question. But before we get into that, the quick bets are negative EV wagers. They're not neutral, yes. They're negative.
Correct.
With that said, so Teddy, here is my question. If a man or a woman, or they, them, puts $1,000 into a sports book and bets it 10 times, is Forbes considering that $10,000? Because I consider that
of course,
$1,000.
That's what's bet.
But that's totally wrong. These guys, they're so stupid. Like, honest to God, where are the brains of these people? So if I put $1,000 into the stock market and I day trade it 5 times in a day, they will say, I put $5,000 into the stock market. No. The amount of times you bet the same dollar, it's still the same dollar. That is a bullshit number at the highest level of bullshit ever. Like, bullshit is upset that number is being used. There is absolutely no way that the same $1,000 could be considered anything more than the same $1,000. And as far as parlay penetration goes, God, I had a whole lot of one-liners for that, but I held back, Teddy. I held back. But in all seriousness, that is a high-level bullshit number.
Okay. You're allowed to have your opinion. Nonetheless,
It's not an
things are
opinion.
recorded the way they're recorded.
Not an opinion. If you put
Okay.
$1,000 into your sports book and you bet it one time or 1,000,000 times, it is still $1,000. You
Incorrect.
cannot
you put $1,000 in your
count
sports book and you bet it one time.
$1,000. What?
I'm not going to argue with you about this, Lawrence, but the way they're counting, if you put $1,000 to a sports book and you make a bet, you risk the whole 1,000 and you win. Now you have $2,000 in your sports book and you're making another bet. The $1,000 was already bet. If you lose, you have nothing in your sports book and you have to deposit more money. Okay.
Right.
It's not. So each time you bet, that counts as a bet. I don't understand why you're like, no, that's wrong.
I never said your
said if you bet
statement wasn't.
I don't want to argue.
Your
I don't want to spend a lot
statement
of time arguing
wasn't.
with you,
Your
Mark.
state, Teddy. This is not an argument between you and I. Your statement. Okay. Your statement isn't that they generated $45 million of bets.
Billion.
Yeah, billion. It's of volume money. All that matters is how much is deposited into the sports book. Like you bet $1,000 100 times, it's still $1,000. No matter, like you just can't use that number. It's incorrect bullshit. Now, with that said, if you keep putting 1,000, if you bet 1,000, put 1,000 in, bet it, lose it all, put another 1,000 in, bet it, lose it all. Yeah, that's 2,000, 3,000. But if you're rolling the same $1,000, I have this argument with day traders all the time.
It's not the same $1,000. You've already bet it. So now it's either more or less.
No, it just doesn't work. I have arguments with day traders all the time. A day trader puts $10,000. You want to move on?
You and I will agree to disagree on this, and you can disagree with all the way that Wall Street does their forecasting. That's fine. Let's move on to the next guest.
Okay, Bryan Power joining us. I'm good with disagreeing, Teddy. This isn't that important. Like, honest to God, I'm so completely used to smart people being wrong.
With you saying silliness.
Yeah. Except Bryan agrees with me. Bryan, tell Teddy I agree with Lawrence. Remember, Bryan?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I wasn't on the show last week, and there was this void in my life, I felt, and I think it was these passionate debates that I get to follow up when I come on the show. My life now feels so much more fulfilled having heard that. But look, I'll just plead the fifth, and we'll move on to some fun games we have to talk about.
So to summarize,
NBA, Major League Baseball.
To summarize, Bryan says I'm correct. Bryan, one of our listeners wants to be talked off the Cavaliers. So he's making a bet on them, clearly, and he wrote, can someone talk me off the Cavs? I know you're looking at the first quarter here. If you have any thoughts on the entire game, please give that as well.
Yeah, I'm not in love with the Cavs full game here, so maybe I can cause a shift, and I am going to focus on the first quarter, Prez. Like you mentioned, let's just back up a second, talk about what's happened so far in this series. The shift in perception, pretty wild. First two games here in Cleveland, the Cavs win 97-83, 96-86. Everyone at that point seemingly felt the Magic were dead and buried. But the series goes back to Orlando. What happens? The Magic win big twice, 121-83, 112-89. So home court advantage has clearly been huge in this series. Now we head back to Cleveland. And Orlando seems to have the quote-unquote momentum, hate that word, because while the Magic are a league best 51-33-1 against the number still, you cannot deny they are just not as strong a team on the road. They're 18-25 straight up away from home this year, 21-20-2 against the number. At home, 31-11 straight up, 29-13 against the spread. So what I want to do here for tonight's Game 5 is focus on the first quarter. It's something I previously talked about on both the Morning Wager, my new show with Mark Zinno, and the NBA Tip-Off show. The Cavs have played the Magic 7 times this season with a healthy Donovan Mitchell in the lineup. 6 of those times, they've won the first quarter. 4 of those 6, they've been ahead by double digits at the end of the first quarter. That's not really a shock to me. Orlando, full season, bottom third in the league in first quarter net rating. They're a slow starting team. By the way, the one time the Cavs did not win the first quarter was Game 3 in Orlando. I actually bet the Magic first half in that game as they were in a desperate state, down 0-2, returning home. But even then, even in that game where Orlando won the first quarter, the Cavs were ahead 21-18 with 3 minutes to go. The Magic closed the quarter out on a big run. Given they're back home tonight, guys, and how the second half played out on Sunday, I'd say the Cavs desperately, and I do mean desperately, need a strong start to this game. As you know, I live here in Cleveland. I can tell you the natives were getting restless with JV Bickerstaff. If they get off to a bad start in this game, there's going to be a lot of groaning at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I think people are ready to throw in the towel on this game. So I think the home team comes out strong. And for what it's worth, the market does agree, Teddy. Seems to have the same idea. You look at the WagerTalk odds screen, we've seen some books already move this first quarter number from minus 1.5 to -2. I would lay it with the Cavs.
So the Cleveland Cavaliers was really a strong unit for extended stretches. When they went on that huge run in January before the All-Star break, the Cavs bench was huge. Down the stretch, they cooled off. Here in the postseason, that bench has been pretty bad. All right, let's be real. The 2 games down in Orlando, Cleveland's bench got badly outplayed in both of those games. And all the Magic did as a young team was gain confidence. So here we have a team, and you're going to get bench action at the end of the first quarter. You know, that's how Orlando went on their run in the one that they did. You're going to get that Cavs bench in play. You're going to get an Orlando team that has all the momentum and all the confidence right now. And you have Cleveland coming off that 29-point second half in which I don't want to say that Orlando figured out how to stop Cleveland, but Orlando's figured out how to stop this team. Are you worried about any of that stuff from the get-go?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the second half was a complete disaster. Of course, I mean, you could also choose to focus on the first half where Cleveland looked really good. And I want to talk about role players, home versus road. Obviously, that's such a big talking point in this series with the home team winning all 4 games. It's always been my belief role players are better at home than on the road. So when we do see those reserves come in, Teddy, I expect the Cavs reserves to be better than they were in games 3 and game 4, and conversely, Orlando's reserves not to be as good as they were in game 3 and game 4. Again, Orlando is just overall not the same team on the road as they are at home. And it's so similar to me as like what we saw in game 3. The Cavs are the more desperate team right now. They cannot afford a bad start. Otherwise, I don't see a game script where the Cavs get off to a slow start and come back to win, believe it or not. So I think they're going to have a huge priority on starting this game strong, and that's why I like them in the first quarter tonight.
Bryan Power joining us. Bry, yesterday we had Drew Martin on. I think it was Drew. He gave out the Yankees over the Orioles. He was wrong. They lost 2-0. Hey, listen, we're all wrong a lot. I mean, this is, long story short.
Business.
Yeah. So Yankees tonight, minus 118 against the Orioles. They coming back. They're getting it done. Where are we going here?
Yeah, to that point, Prez, I would have loved to come on the show yesterday because I was coming off a 4-0 Sunday sweep and an 8-1 weekend. We gave some back yesterday, unfortunately, but still over 70% in the NBA this month. Let's talk about Major League Baseball, though. The Yankees and the Orioles. First thing I'm seeing here is a big edge in the starting pitching matchup towards the Yanks. Nestor Cortez, back-to-back quality starts, Each of his last 3 outings at home, he's gone 7 or more innings, and he's allowed just 3 runs total. 2 of those didn't even give up a run. This is what I really like from Cortez overall this season. His command's been a lot better. Just 1 walk his last 4 starts overall. Then for Baltimore, you got Dean Kramer, who is a guy I viewed as the weak link in this rotation going back to last season. Allows a lot of hard contact, 6 homers this season. That's not great. Cortez, talk about great. Him against the Orioles in his career, 4-0, 1.99 ERA. That's his lowest ERA against any opponent. Meanwhile, Kramer against the Yankees, 2-3, 5.04 ERA. You look at expected ERA of these two, an advanced metric. Cortez, 2.53. Kramer, full run higher than his actual ERA at 5.43. So the gap may be even more pronounced than what traditional stats tell us here. Now, okay, you could think about, as you know, you guys had the discussion at the open show about first 5 versus full game. You could just look at the Yankees' first 5 here with a decided starting pitching edge. But I want to talk about the Baltimore bullpen as well, guys. It's not in great shape heading into this game. Closer Craig Kimbrell dealing with a back injury. He was not available last night, blew a save on Sunday. Couple of the high leverage guys now have worked back-to-back days and 3 times in the last 5 days. So this Baltimore bullpen not operating at full strength coming tonight. I'm going to close with this. Yankees not only 8-3 off a loss. You mentioned the 2-0 loss last night, Prez. Well, they're a perfect 4-0 this season when off a shutout loss. So the Yankees as short road favorites is how I would play this one, Teddy.
So Kramer actually has a decent track record against the Bronx Bombers. Looking back to last year, his last 2 starts against them, 11 innings, 11 hits, 4 runs allowed, 17 strikeouts. So he's pitched fairly well, and most notably, the Orioles won both of those ball games. Part of his, he had a monster run last year where the team kept on winning for him. Do you worry at all that Kramer's success against this lineup might carry over?
I think that success was phony. Honestly, you mentioned how they were winning, so because he was getting a lot of run support. Quite frankly, you look at the Yankees versus righties this season, Teddy. How about an 129 WRC plus? That's really good. An alternate look, okay, is the Yankees team total. I think in this one, I mentioned they're 4-0 off a shutout loss. They've averaged 6 runs per game in those 4. So I think they're going to put runs on the board, but you look at the splits, Yankees versus righties are better than the Orioles versus lefties. Cortez is a southpaw, of course. I just think the road team's the correct side here.
Bryan Power, what do you got to promote?
Yeah, already up. Champions League best bet. 5 straight soccer winners, number 1 in soccer over the last 7 days. So that's great. All my NBA and Major League Baseball for Tuesday should be up. That card should be finalized within the hour. Of course, it is. We've got that great special going on where you can fill your cart, take 25% off anything and everything up until midnight tonight. So head on over to my page, wt.buzz/BP.
There we go. Bryan Power, everyone. Mark Zinno, Bryan Power. We still have a Dave Sharapan coming up. Teddy's big game breakdown in the penalty box segment. Teddy, it's time for your big game breakdown.
Big game breakdown time here on WagerTalk Today. Before we talk about the Pacers and the Bucks, I'm going to hype because there's a great deal today. It's Fill Your Cart Tuesday at WagerTalk.com. You can take 25% off everything you can fit into your cart. No exceptions. Coupon code FULLCART as often as you like until the clock strikes midnight tonight. And I've got a great package going right now. MLB through the All-Star break, you get my NBA playoffs for free. All right. And we're rolling 13-3 across sports over the last week. I'm hitting 66% across sports over the last 7 weeks. So we're making money right now. Take advantage of this offer. Fill Your Cart Tuesday. You can get MLB through the All-Star break and get the NBA playoffs for free and get 25% off more with Fill Your Cart Tuesday using that promo code FULLCART. So I'm hyping because this is a great deal. If you're going to get on board, do it today. So why do we like to make fun of Doc Rivers and bet against him in playoff time? Well, here's the quote. Doc Rivers goes, here's the quote after the Bucks fall down 3-1. 1 game at a time. Well, we have 2 games left at home, and they have 1 game left at home. That's how you can look at it. The first thing is we have to win that first game. And then we can talk the rest after that. It's just Doc Rivers with another higher-seeded playoff team once again underachieving. There's no Damian Lillard tonight, again. All right? There's no Giannis, again, tonight. And the Bucs shot 51% from the floor in game 4. All right. They hit a dozen 3-pointers. They had a 26-9 assist to turnover ratio. They were +4 on the glass. Brooke Lopez went nuts. Malik Beasley went nuts. Chris Middleton had another big game. AJ Green hit shots off the bench. So did Andre Jackson. They can't play much better than they did. Did I mention they lost that game by double digits? Stick a fork in them. Bucks are done. Indiana wins the series tonight. If I'm playing, I'm laying. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers. We are waiting for Dave Sharapan. I copy that. He said he was going to be on. Yeah. Okay. Let's go straight to the penalty box segment, everybody. Before we get there, guys, do me a favor, and I forgot to ask at the beginning of the show, hit that like button, please. It's been a fun show. We give out some great information. Take a second out of your day, hit that like button. And also in the comment section after the show goes live, let us know how you guys are attacking baseball. Are you looking at the first 5 on a regular basis more often than not, or is that sort of an exclusive way to bet baseball for you guys? I'm curious what people's take on that is. Okay, let's get to the penalty box segment. We got 4 games going tonight, and I'm going to give out 3 bets for you all. The first one is, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, this team has killed me these playoffs. Frankly, they've killed my soul for 55 years of my life. And screw them. I'm sick of them, and I frankly hope they lose and they get rid of Shanahan and Keefe and Mitch Marner, get out of here, rebuild the stupid team. With that said, we've seen this story play out, and the Leafs are way better for some reason on the road in the playoffs than they are at home. The other thing is this Leaf team is just impossible to figure out right now. Every time you think they're dead, they come back, they play outstanding. Every time you think they've got some momentum, they lay a duck. This is one of those games where they're going to get it done, and they're going to give me and all the Leaf Nation fans hope, and then they're going to rip it out on Thursday night. So at plus 130, I like the Toronto Maple Leafs. Next up is Carolina, and this Carolina team is going to slaughter the New York Islanders tonight. I like them minus 1.5, and I like them in regulation. New York Islanders did good, okay? I mean, they screwed up that one game that they had 3-2 with like seconds left to go, and they lost it. But I think this New York team is done. Carolina moves on. The next one I want to talk about is Vancouver and Nashville going to the over. 5.5 is the total here. And yeah, it went over last game. Miracle. It should not have. But here we have Vancouver with massive goaltending issues. Nashville coming into the playoffs were scoring a lot of goals. And Vancouver is capable of scoring too. This is a low number of 5.5. If it's 3-2 in regulation, we have a shot at an empty net. I again think we might see a 4-3 type of a hockey game take over the total. And lastly, we do have a promo up at the website. It's incredible. It's called Fill Your Cart. Basically, you put anything you want into your shopping cart, and you get 25% off. I hope I didn't screw that up. Use the promo code FULLCART, and that includes daily, yearly, seasonal, monthly packages, combo packages. It doesn't matter. 25% off anything you put in your cart. Use the promo code FULLCART. Dave Sharapan joining us now. Dave, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. Great to see you. I have a question after that. Theodore, we'll talk in a second. What is yearly? You said put it in the cart yearly. What the hell is yearly?
It's every 365 days.
Yearly. Yearly. Okay.
So you're gonna
right.
So we're mocking people's accents today.
No, I thought I misheard you, and you said yearly, and I thought that was code for
you
something.
You can make fun of my accent. I'm a big man. I don't care. You can make fun of me all day long.
On a Tuesday. I'm not making fun of anything. No drama. The people love the accent. Golf, yearly. I have a list of things that happen every
Garage,
Tuesday.
roof.
Prez
You want to keep
says-
going? Like we can just
Prez
play.
says something, and I write it down. Yearly. It's a new one for me.
Okay, there we go. You're done now?
I'm just getting started. I mean,
What
come
did you
on.
think of my NHL picks?
I really enjoyed the segment. That was great. We had graphics. It looks great. There's a rap song from 1991, Digital Underground sang. It's called The Same Song. And it's really good. It's Tupac's debut. The same song. I've been thinking about it all morning because this Toronto Maple Leafs team is the same. It's unbelievable, Theodore. I couldn't wait to see you
But
today.
if that is the case, Dave,
Bye-bye.
that means they're going to win tonight.
Done.
That means they're winning tonight. If it's the same song, they always lose in Game 7. So
This is
same
true.
song, they win tonight. They always seem to win on the road. Same song, they win tonight.
Is that?
Who cares
Why
whether
is that?
I want them to lose this damn series? But we're here to give out betting information to the clients. And if
Yeah,
it is
Boston.
the same song and dance, it means they win tonight.
Marshawn in 5. Marshawn said Boston in 5. He skated by the bench and told everybody the Bruins are winning. It's over.
Oh,
You're right about
I'm
Carolina.
good with that. Dude, I'm go Bruins. I don't even care. To hell with the freaking Leafs. I'm not even watching tonight.
What?
I'm playing
What?
hockey at 7:00. Same game. I'll
You're
watch
not
like
watching
mid the
the
third
game?
period. We were
He'll
not
watch.
going to go to
He'll
the
watch.
game. We were going to cancel our hockey game, but the whole team is like, screw the damn Leafs. So anyway, go ahead, Teddy. I got to get out of here in 5 minutes.
All right.
So
Go
to
ahead.
get some actionable info out of this
Get some
guy.
action. All right.
Dave Sharapan, how are you today, my
Hello,
friend?
Theodore. Good to see you.
Shall we talk? And I want to ask you about the NFL draft because
Yep.
we haven't talked any NFL draft since it was done.
Yep.
Does the NFL draft move the needle in any way for any team any year when it comes to the odds, whether it's future book, whether it's season wins, whether it's week one? Talk to me about the draft impacting actual point spreads or odds for teams. Because
Nothing really happens. Nothing really happens until the schedule release. And once the schedule release comes out and everybody sees the 3-game road trip or the, 4 roadies in 5 weeks, 2, 1, 2, whatever, and then people bet it, that's when the stuff moves. The draft, listen, the guys are putting out stories today that the books lost on the draft. Surprise, surprise. So, small loser. I don't know how the action was yet, though. I got to go see a guy right after the show and ask him specifically about, did it do more handle this year? Because there was a lot more. I don't know if the interest is going up in the draft or it's just covered more by the media, but it sure feels like there was a lot of interest in the draft this year, more so than ever, with all those people in Detroit. And I know people that watch our other shows were talking about the draft. So, no, to answer your question in a roundabout way, nothing really moves a number by anybody that got drafted on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday in the book.
And of course, when you talk about the fact that the books lost booking the NFL. So I heard complaints from sharp friends of mine that the Vegas books weren't offering much. They weren't offering anything. They were complaining about compared to what you saw in the global books and in the books back east. Yep. The Vegas books very light on their NFL draft offering. Did you hear the same thing? And what's your take on the fact that now, instead of we have a Vegas / offshore divide, now it's a Vegas versus the rest of the country divide when it comes to some of the
it's always Vegas versus everybody. It started to happen a few years ago when it got passed, and it's true with the draft. I mean, the Nevada Gaming Control Board makes it you have to close it the day before, so there's no even day of draft betting here in Nevada. So it's kind of an afterthought, and it's kind of like, let's limit our not interest in it. It's just, it's not that big of a market. The dirty little secret is it's not that big of a market, at least here. So that's great if books want to do it. I voted. I stood on the table 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and said we don't have to book this. We literally don't have to book this. Don't put anything up, and it'll be fine. And it's still fine. So yeah, you're right. It's kind of taken as an afterthought here in Vegas and in Nevada in general.
Former odds maker and current sports betting personality Dave Sharapan joining us here on Wager Talk today. You can follow him on Twitter at SportsBKConsig, the Sportsbook Consigliere. And he's certainly a fixture in Las Vegas, has been for a number of years, a guy who booked both in the global world and here in town. Let's move to some actionable information. We have a loaded card in 3 different sports. We got NHL, MLB, NBA. You decide, Dave. Where do you want to go first?
Well, I mean, just to recap, Prez is, to play it on the same line as Prez. I mean, I'll play the wing. He can play center or defense, but he can skate backwards really well, so he play defender. Hockey, it's I think Boston ends it tonight, and hopefully for Leafs fans, they do. Carolina wins. Vancouver and Nashville, you can't even make up what happened in the last game. How does Nashville recover from that? The game goes over, just like Prez says tonight. Whether the series is decided or not, leaning at Vancouver. And I mean, this feels like the chalkiest night ever with the hockey. Colorado's going to win and close out Winnipeg. I mean, that's pretty much done. Basketball, I don't know what the hell happened to the Sixers. I'm a Knicks fan now. What Brunson did on Sunday, made me think of Bernard King and New York Knicks basketball. The way Philly's going, the dog is going to be a take. They're going to take the dog, and anything more than 4.5, they already have. But I don't think Philadelphia wins the game. The other 2 games I have minimal interest in the basketball. And after that, it's baseball. I'm flying to Oakland tomorrow to go see the last Pittsburgh Pirate game in Oakland ever.
Cool.
I can't wait. Yeah, little business person special. Hopefully we'll be on the field with MLB and doing some stuff in the morning. But yeah, it's officially baseball season now for me. I love it.
Excellent stuff, Dave. Teddy.
Oh, sorry, Lawrence. I texted you. I thought he was going to talk some baseball. Was there anything else on today's baseball card that stood out to you, Dave? In terms of early action?
Prez has a breakfast or lunch date that he has to get to. I don't want to take up any more of his time.
Do you want to know where I'm going?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
I have a sty in my eye, and I need to see a doctor.
Oh, no.
Take your time.
Those are the worst. Does it hurt? Does it hurt?
Up and down. Man, it's been like 6 months of it, and it has moments of pain, but whatever, man. Like,
you're a hockey player. You can have a sty in your eye. Those are the worst, though. As you get older, the styes in the eyes are like you can't even put your head on the pillow. That's the worst.
Yeah. Well, I'm eye sty guy. The sty eye guy.
Okay.
Can we end this, Joe?
End it.
Okay. Dave, we love having you on.
Yes, sir.
I'm totally good with the Boston Bruins winning tonight. And
can I throw something out there? If you have any Derby picks, can you send them to me, please? We had a couple Derby guys on Bostonian versus the book. It's Derby week. I don't want any drama, but we had a couple guys on yesterday. We got the guy's name is Randy Moss from NBC Sports today on the show. I'm waiting to get Marco on. I'd like Marco to come on and at least talk about the horses.
Marco owns horses, and he kills it in horse betting. Same with Sean Alvarez. We've got some really talented horse bettors with us.
I had Alvarez on the show last year. He was outstanding. I'm trying to book him for later in the week. But keep an eye on that. Bostonian versus the book, Sports Grid TV, Sirius XM Radio, and cash considerations. MLB Network, hopefully tomorrow in Oakland on the field. Prez, I hope your eye feels better. Theodore, I'll talk to you later. See you, boys.
Later, guys. Teddy, take us home.
Sure, that's going to wrap it for the Tuesday edition of Wager Talk Today. Your sports central for gamblers, live each and every weekday, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. We'll do it again tomorrow, same time, same channel. Between now and tomorrow's games, enjoy What am I saying here? Good luck with your wagers. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.